Hi everyone. So what we'll be doing today is guiding you through a demo, an Octave demo where we will use a mangOH device enabled with Octave and the Octave web interface plus Octave's API to control a full setup where we'll basically have a mangOH device with its light sensor that we will use to control an LED thanks to the GPIOs on that mangOH with a bit of logic, so edge actions that we will deploy to the device with a small code snippet of code which will trigger and enable the LED by comparing the actual light reading to a threshold. And what we'll show on top of that is how easy it is to control that actual light threshold from the cloud through Octave API. So no need to update or change your code and deploy it to the device to change its behavior. It's basically from the cloud that you're easily able to control what's happening on the edge side. So what I will be doing here is guide you through the different steps to basically set up that demo. And besides this, we'll be providing you with the full documentation about the code snippets and other steps you need to follow to basically set up that demo. So to start with, we'll have to enable three things in terms of resources on the device. So once you have went to Octave's UI and selected your device, you will want to go to the resource panel. So the first thing that we will do is basically go to red sensor and to the light sensor, and you want to make sure that it is enabled, so enable equals to true, and that the reporting period is something like a few seconds, so typically 2 or 5 seconds for the demo to be really interactive. So once you have enabled that light sensor, the second thing that you will want to do is create a virtual resource. That's the resource where we'll basically be saving the threshold used by the edge action to compare the actual light reading to. So in order to do so here it's already created on my setup, but you will basically want to create a virtual resource called light sensor. So it's really easy to do so. In order to do so, you just go to add virtual resource, type in light sensor, define it as a number, and give it a default value. For instance, we're going to use 200 here, and you just have to apply, and that is immediately deployed to the device. Then the third thing you will want to enable on the device is the GPIO, so an output pin that will control the LED. So let's do this. It's really easy. Just go to the services menu, go to configuration, and here we'll use the IoT sensor, IoT GPIO number 1. So just select IoT 0 GPIO 1, select it, define it as an output, and leave it with its default resource name, and just add. So once you have done so, you can just check that in the resources. You will, after a few seconds, you will see your IO. It comes here live. It has been enabled on the device, and you see that new resource. So that's setting up all the inputs, outputs on the device. Now what we'll want to do is basically take the light sensor reading, and use it as an input for the edge action. The edge action, which will actually be comparing the light readings to the light threshold and controlling the LED. So in order to do so, you will go to observations and create a light edge action observation. So we'll pick up, click on add observation, and pick the light sensor value as an observed source. Call your observation light EA, for instance, and define it as an edge action observation. And that is done. Once that is done, you can go to edge action, create a new one. Here I'm going to edit the one I already created. And this light detection edge action will pick up the light EA as a source observation. You can call this edge action as you may want to. So light detector in this case, make sure it's enabled, and basically paste the small snippet of code that we have provided. In short, what this action does, it takes the input event, which is carrying the light sensor information. So we'll take that light sensor reading. We will go read the light threshold from the light threshold virtual resource, and then we'll basically compare the light reading to the light threshold, and depending on the comparison, we'll basically set the LED on state to true or false. And last step is to return that status to the GPIO pin to control the LED. Once this is done, you can save your edge action, and from now on it's running. So we'll check on our device if everything is working well. So here the light is pretty high, the LED is therefore turned off, and I'm going to cover the light sensor, and we see that immediately the LED is turned on. I can do it as often as I want. We have the edge action controlling the edge GPIOs, which turns the LED on or off based on the light readings. So that's all on the edge side, defined from the Octave UI and run on the edge device. Now the really nice thing that we will show now is that this actual light threshold that we have defined statically from the UI, we can actually update it from the cloud. So in order to do so, we will use a generic API client to basically send a command and update the light threshold on the device from outside of Octave using Octave API. So we're going to use an Insomnia client, but you could basically send that command from anywhere and any type of REST API client, and we're going to target our device's command stream. This is where the device is able to get commands from the cloud, and we will target the virtual resource light threshold that we have defined. And we're going to change it to, for instance, 3200 lux, which will be much higher than our actual light reading, and I just send it to the device. And we'll immediately see on the device that the threshold went up, the actual light is below, and the LED has been turned on. Now we can actually observe what has been sent to the device if you go to streams and the command stream. So we actually see the virtual light threshold value of 3200 be sent to the device. If we want to turn it back on, we'll turn the light off and set the threshold back to 200, just change the value, launch an API call again. We see that new value coming in, and you've seen the light turn on. So I hope that this whole overview of Octave and all its capabilities, from edge computing to the cloud side and easy cloud integration, has helped you out, and we'll be happy to follow up with other videos like this. Thanks a lot. Bye.